in a new village, and I needed to know that. And of course, when they told me, I talked to my chairman, Mr. Chirimira Christopher, and Yakale told me because he presided over the entire area, and he just said, "No, there is another."
You belong to the
yes,
other place.
but you belong to. So I'm still part of the original village.
And I hope that village was split up in accordance with the laws.
I will find out. I will actually find out. I can't competently say.
And I hope that it has been verified and harmonized with our list, and so that we. But I think some procedures. I know that some villages have gone through that procedure.
Yes.
But that is interesting because if you've taken care to know a village, it's very important to know a village. Your else one is very important. These are the people who sign on our papers for.
To even just know who they are.
Just to know
they are first leaders.
They are first leaders. They are important when you're filling forms for passports, filling forms for education.
I have at least 5 or 6 telephone numbers of the committee.
It is important.
I know Nabachala, defenses, do you want publicity? I know at least those because they are my leaders.
They are your first leaders.
Yes.
It's important that you get to know them, know their names, even write their numbers, what we do, put them on the door around there because there could be an issue and you need to reach out to them or even the people you live at home. So it's important to know your village, but we are definitely going to pass on this information. We'll put it also on the website, but most importantly, we are giving this to political parties because they have to organize themselves starting at the village level and mobilize and prepare candidates who will be nominated to contest for the women councils and committees elections.
Okay, now when will the registers be compiled? Because a register is a bedrock of any election. So we now have the administrative units. So let's get to the registers. When will they be compiled for the people to know?
We're going to compile a register for each village. Starting on the 10th of June up to the 13th of June. It is very important because you cannot hold elections when you do not have a register. And this is a special interest group, you can call it that. It's Electoral College, so we're not going to use the National Voters Register. And it is a village-based election. The National Voters Register uses the parish as the base. So you can be registered within a parish of origin or a parish where you reside. And you can be at a polling station within the parish, at any of the polling stations within the parish. But in this case, each village...
like I go to Munyonyo village, it's called Munyonyo Gardens. That's my polling station.
Wow, I thought it was inside the resort. Okay, yeah, so...
No, Munyonyo Gardens, not into the resort.
It must be a posh polling station. But besides that, each village is unique because it is a polling station for that matter. And so each village has its own register. So we have what we call a village women residence register because this election is residence based. We register you according to where you reside. Where you reside, not where you originate from. And that's why we call it a village women residence register. So all women who are 18 years and above and reside in this particular village, Radio Uganda village, and they are 18 years and above and they are willing to participate in this election, which is very important that you participate, will be registered. We will compile that register from the 10th of June up to the 13th of June.
Actually, I was going to ask about eligibility, and now that's what you're talking about. Who qualifies to actually get into registering?
There must be a woman, that's very, very important. You must be a woman and
in
you
that
must
village.
be resident in that village. So, because you're going to, this committee is going to be concerned with the matters of that village, and that's where you reside. So your village of residence, and you must be a citizen of Uganda, because these elections are open to citizens of Uganda, and that means you must have a national ID, because that's how we verify that you're a citizen of Uganda. Persons who have been verified as citizens have been issued with the national ID numbers, NINs, and even cards.
I don't have a national ID, but everybody knows me in this village. I am this woman here, I am this Nalongo, I am this. It's not enough.
It's not enough. There are people who have come in and settled, speak the language, and they are even doing so many good things for the community, and they are members of our society, but they are not citizens of Uganda, because this is elections. These are elections from which people progress up to the national level. And you to participate in elections in Uganda, at this level, you must be a citizen of Uganda. And the only way we can confirm that is by obtaining your national ID number.
Okay, very important. Then after you've gone through that, we now have a register. What positions are we going to vote for, elect for the contestants?
Each village will have a committee of 5 persons, and quickly look at them here. The committee has 5 members. That is, there's a chairperson, a vice chairperson, secretary, the publicity secretary, and the secretary for finance. So each village will be will have nominations of persons who want to contest for these positions, and later on we'll have elections to fill these particular positions at the village level.
Who supervises the registration?
The Electoral Commission does that.
The
This is the
Electoral Commission
exercise. You are going to deploy a village election officer who is going to conduct the registration exercise, working together with the support of the parish supervisor, who is also our staff, and the sub-county supervisor, who is also our staff, and of course the returning officer for that district. And that's the team that will be responsible for organizing within a particular electoral district.
And how long does that take?
The registration of residents will be from the 10th of June up to the 13th of June. So we are counting 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, which is 4 days. Yes.
Okay, and after 4 days, you shall have a complete register for that village.
Oh, that's the period within which we shall compile those who are willing and who turn up during that period, and then we will display it for a day within that particular village to come and confirm that yes, these are people from within the village, and then we'll use it for nominations. Yeah.
Okay. Then of course we get into nominations, and you say anybody, but still because you're on the register, you also qualify.
So it's electoral college, and so nominations are members of the council. At the village, the hundreds of you who come up, you form the council, that becomes the council. And so members of the council are eligible to be nominated for any of the 5 elective positions. And we'll conduct nominations from the 27th of June all the way through the first day of July this year.
Okay. It's a village affair, and we're looking at another child of Radio Uganda. Do we get to campaigns? Do we do what we're now seeing in Omoro? Do we see what we saw in Nakayunga? Do we do all the things and the fanfare of campaigns? Or because it's electoral colleges, it's a village level thing, and we just manage it our own way?
Now, when you're nominated, you have a right to campaign and seek the support of the electorate, and that will be done from the 4th to the 6th of July. So there will be campaigns within the villages. The candidates will be able to come out and say, I'm the nominated candidate for the position of secretary for the women committee. Please vote for me from within that constituency, which is the village. Yes.
These have no specific qualifications.
Yeah, there are no academic requirements, minimum required for you to contest for these elections.
For as long as you're a resident?
You're a resident, you're a woman.
And the citizen of Uganda.
18 years and above, and you're a citizen of Uganda, and you are willing to participate in this, so you turned up and registered. When you tick all those boxes, then you can present yourself for nomination. Of course, if you're coming with a political party, the political party must show you the support and give you their backing. That is, you are their flag bearer, so you must have proof of that. Because these elections progress from the village to the parish to the sub-county up to the national.
I was actually going to ask where political parties, because it just looks like it's a village affair. We can disagree on who we want to be president of this country. We can disagree on who we want to be member of parliament, but it's the same village. You're my neighbor here, I'm your neighbor here, and so we just call like that.
No, these are elections. They are scheduled elections. They are elections established by the National Women Councils Act and other electoral laws of Uganda, and so including the Local Government Act. So political parties, they are conducted within the framework of pluralistic, with political party participation. So the participation of political parties starts from the village level. And by the way, and which is very, very important for our viewers to note, and especially aspiring candidates, when you come in at village level as a member of you say, I've come in, I want to be nominated, I've been nominated to represent the activist party, for example. Okay? And that is the flag you will hold even when you progress to the other
Is that
level.
so? Yeah. When you start with this party,
you go that party
that's going to be your party through even when you go to become a member
up
of
to the end.
parliament.
If you wish to progress to the parish level, you will still need to move like that. You can't change. You can't say I came in as independent and along the way I changed my mind. I've now moved to the Democratic Party, to the National Resistance Movement, or to FDC, or to any other party. We have 26 registered political parties. So if you start in as independent, that's how you can progress. You can only progress as independent.
No, Paul, make that very clear. If I start now as an independent, and during the course of time I discover there is strength in this political party.
You can't change that because we register at the point of entry into the system as an independent candidate, and that's how you progress. You leave that position, you've forfeited everything.
Are you explaining this to people?
Yeah, I'm explaining this to our viewers, and I think our guidelines are very clear.
Yes, it's very important.
I would say that the party which has presented you at the beginning, you are going to go with that party up to the end. And in the case of independent candidates, that's how it's going to be.
Okay, then let's get to the voting itself. So what happens on voting day? Is it by adult, not adult suffrage? Is it by separate ballot, or is it by because the last local council election that we did at the villages was a queuing and lining behind the parcel that we desire. Is it going to be the same way, or it's a different one this time?
So elections will take place on the 7th of July for the villages.
Okay.
Yes, 7th of July, and they will be by lining up. Lining up behind the candidate of your choice. So we'll use the lining up for purposes of the village level elections, and we will start, of course, with the chairperson. And candidates will, or rather the electorate, members of the electoral college, exclusively members, those who are registered, become the members of the electoral college. They will line up behind the candidate of their choice. Yes.
And you have staff who will be in all the 70,000 villages to monitor this?
This election is planned for, it's budgeted for, it's a scheduled election, it's provided by the law, and it's one of those areas for which we plan and budget and even recruit staff. And we'll have staff recruited at each village to conduct this election, just like we are recruiting a staff to compile the register. Similar on polling day, we'll have our team of election officials who will conduct the exercise. Yeah.
Okay, and of course you say we'll line up. We'll start with the chairperson,
behind the
vice
candidate
chairperson,
of your choice, yes.
the secretary, the treasurer, and publicity.
They'll be elected, yes.
They'll be elected on that day.
Yeah.
Okay, through that same processes in there. Do they have term limits? I can be another chala forever.
Yeah, the term of office for women councils is actually 4 years, which is why we are holding the elections this year. Unlike the other terms, which are 5 years. The last time we held the women councils elections was in July, August of 2018. And that's why we're holding the elections this year.
After 4 years?
After 4 years.
Why
Because
4 years?
Their term of office is expiring at the end of August this year.
And why only 4 years? Because all the other elections are 5 years in this country.
I think that has to go back to their law. Their law sets their term of office at 4 years. And that's what we have in place at the moment, and that's what we're implementing. I've had voices talking, of course, about that it should also be brought, harmonized together with the others and brought to 5 years. I think that matter has reached the stakeholders charged with amending electoral laws and all that. At this moment, what the Electoral Commission has to implement is what is existing right now, and that is the term is 4 years. And we will have to make sure that when August comes, there is there's no problem. You know, we don't want to come to August when there are no office bearers. So we are doing the 4-year term as Electoral Commission. That's what is in the law at the moment.
Okay. You seem to be prepared as Electoral Commission. How about the villages? How about the people supposed to participate in this election? How about the rest of us, the stakeholders? How about the people in the villages and elsewhere? You as Electoral Commission is, of course, you know that this is a scheduled election. It's a funded election by the government, and it's supposed to happen anyway. It's your duty to actually organize it. How are we prepared on our part as those who are supposed to be in this thing? Are you finding out to know how people are getting geared up to, or it's an exercise that will happen? Because we are in Uganda, the other day you will see somebody on TV saying, or somebody calling to say, how did it even happen when we don't know?
Yeah, I think we've like I said, we released this program actually to be exact, on the 18th of February, and we
for the last about 3 months.
Yeah, we sent it out. The first client that we engage with, if I can use the word client, is of course political parties. They present candidates to us.
Okay.
And we told them prepare, because this exercise is coming. We also made sure that during our outreaches, which we started in the month of March, from 10th, we went across the country doing stakeholder meetings. We put the country on notice, we put the stakeholder on notice, and representatives of women, for that matter, on notice. We've sent out the guidelines, but we've also done awareness programs like this one, where we are at this moment. And we think that from this we will continue to build awareness and sustain it to ensure high participation. Otherwise, we've reached out to the key stakeholders, but we're also continuing, because we just have a few days to the first activity, which is the first field activity, where we compile a register. But other than that, we already alerted the parties. We're in touch with the political parties, because they are our main place of contact. They present candidates to us, told them this activity is coming up, and you represent it across the country, go and prepare the people. And I know political parties have been preparing. We've read that in the press, we've seen that in the media, and women are aware, and that's why those questions have been coming. Why isn't it 4 years? Why isn't it like others? So we are just going to build on that until we come into the activity itself.
How important is this election, Mr. Bukenya? Because I need the people to know. The only time we know that there's an election in this country is when we are nominating for presidents. In our neighborhood here in Kenya, we saw 2 days ago Ruto saying my running mate is Gachagua, and then yesterday the Azimio team says ours is Martha Karua, and Kenya is now on fire for Karua and Gachagua the other side, for Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. That's when people feel it's an election until they see the presidents being nominated. But we're talking about an election that is going to deliver to us close to 350,000 leaders in the country. I'm looking at 5 leaders times 70,000 villages, and we talk about a 250,000 people who are going to be elected. And how is it important to us that the people watching you now, those who are 18 and above, they are citizens, they are residents of the areas, and they are actually women, should go register and have themselves printed in there?
I think this election is very important. First of all, like we mentioned, it's set up, or rather, the women councils and committees elections are established by law. So it's a legal activity. It's also a system that has been put in place to nurture leaders, bring up leaders, because we know so many people who have started at that age as members of those councils, and they have grown in leadership and progressed up to national level. But of course, it is also an opportunity to provide leadership starting at the basic level, because leadership doesn't start at the top there. It starts from within the smallest settings, in the families, in the community. And now in this case, women are a very key constituency. They're a big percentage of our population, and they do so many things that help to transform society and to develop them. So the law provided that they be organized and have leadership at that level. And there are many, if you looked and if you invited, for example, the Minister of Gender to discuss with you the detailed women programs that are being run by government, you would see that this structure is needed. And for that matter, it is important that it is organized to absorb the programs that are designed to help women develop from the grassroots level. So I think for that matter, young people and our mothers and our women out there need to participate in the election, so that they have a structure and they follow, or rather are able to follow their own development within that unit themselves. But of course, you know that the chairperson of the Women Council Executive Committee automatically becomes the Secretary for Women Affairs on LC1. So it is an area for representation, it is an opportunity to develop in leadership and an opportunity also to make sure that the issues of women are handled by women from the village level up to the national level.
Okay.
Of course, with the support of other stakeholders.
Okay. When we get to, when is the voting itself?
At the village level, the voting is on the 7th of July. And then we'll progress to the parish and move up to the sub-county, up to the district and the National Delegates Conference for Women Council Executive Committee, which will be on the 23rd and the 24th of August this year. Okay,
so for the villages, whether we call them zones, cells in different places, will it happen on the same day?
Yeah, countrywide. The polling day is the 7th of July in all villages, which are also called cells, and like you said, zone in some urban areas. The polling day is the 7th of July.
The 7th of July, okay. Having gone through all these other bits of it as your timetable reads.
Then we have a roadmap, of course, to progress, because these elections are progressive in nature. All the villages within the parish, like now all the villages we may have in this, we are located in Nakasau Parish, I believe. So if you put together the different villages, Radio Uganda Village, Civic Center, maybe you call Leire, maybe another village is National Theatre, all those villages will, there are members who have been elected, five members per village will come together and form the electoral college for that particular parish. And we'll compile their register, they will have a nomination, and also vote for 5 members, and then we'll progress to the sub-county and go through the same process up to the district, and then the districts and cities will give us the delegates that will come to the National Delegates Conference for the for election of the National Men Council's Executive Committee.
So it's very important to participate now at the village level. Is you don't want to get on the way and say you want to come to the parish and you didn't participate at the village.
And then you lose it out. And we've seen that happen a lot with elections that for special interest groups, which start from the village level for youth, for older persons, for persons with disabilities. And someone along the way says, by the way, why don't I participate in this election? And then they realize that I feel I can do it. I've seen, you know,
and they want to start at sub-county level.
And they say, I want to start at this level, and then you find challenges there. So I think it is important that you participate in this grassroots election, and as you progress up, you open up opportunity. The opportunity is open to progress upwards.
Okay. Well, Mr. Kenya, I want to thank you, but just before I let you go, let's again get back and recap Omoro. Remind us what is happening in Omoro, when the elections will be happening in Omoro. Then again, I finally recap for us at the women's election that is also happening. Many people didn't know that we have an election after next month.
Yeah, it's important. Our laws provide for elections and at a regular interval. And in the case of women, the term of office is 4 years. And for all those who are elected into committees for women from the village up to the national level, the term of office expired this August. So for that matter, we are rolling out that program, take interest in it and participate in it. We start at the village level and progress up to the national level. Then in the case of Omoro, we are on with the election, Omoro County. The exercise is on. We are calling upon stakeholders there to support the campaign to be peaceful so that we smoothly conclude this exercise. Then there are also stakeholders who are interested in that exercise. People will come from the political parties who are coming in to support their candidates. We appeal to them to ensure that they follow the guidelines and their participation is lawful. We are accrediting observers. We are accrediting observers from political parties. And so if you want to be involved in it as an observer, to represent a candidate at polling stations, you need to tell us that so that you are allowed in, you are present there lawfully. So we are calling on all stakeholders to promote peace and unity. That's a community that is also going through a time they've been grieving and the loss of a representative, and we don't want the election to add more, bring in chaos and all that. And that's the message we've sent out. Let's do this peacefully and work together and conclude it smoothly.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Paul Bukenya, the spokesperson of the Electoral Commission. We thank you so much for having allowed to join us, of course, for updating us. And in the future still, we will need you back here to talk about quite a number of things happening and, of course, to update us. We'll stop the conversation here for now and just wishing you all the best for the day. My name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka. Shalom and God bless you.
Thank you.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala.